Greetings, Dr. Jeffrey Scott, and this is my Market MRI Pro update for Wednesday, February 25th, 2026. Well, markets had a pretty strong day, and there's a lot of chatter among some of my friends about would we get a follow-through day today. But as it says, markets mostly higher into the print, but what happened to the volume? There wasn't enough volume to give us that follow-through day. Again, my name is Dr. Jeffrey Scott, marketmripro@gmail.com is my email. Google Group is Top Down Trader. Thanks for joining. If you're new to my channel, why don't you hit subscribe, hit the alarm so you know when I post these. And if you like what I do, give me a thumbs up, and all comments are welcome. As always, these videos are for education purposes only. Anything I talk about should be taken in the spirit of education, not investment advice. The intent of the video is to demonstrate the tools of top-down analysis, how I apply them. Trading involves risk. You are solely responsible for any investment decisions you make. Trading stocks and options can be risky. You should always consult with your financial advisors. And I will be using Market MRI Pro tonight. My Google group is called Top Down Trader. It is the only mailing list I keep. It's how I keep in touch with people, letting them know when I got live events, seminars, when I'm doing some free mentoring, or I post a video at night. And you get a discount to my tools if you join. News and earnings, yeah, well, this was a busy night tonight, but kind of a dud, in my opinion. NVDA came out, met all the expectations. Their gaming numbers were a little weak because of supply constraints. Think about memory, disks, etc. We're also at a period now where we're waiting for a new release of the Intel Core 3, Ultra 3 rather, and the new AMD processors, which aren't really new. So right now, NVIDIA is down a little bit. It initially popped a little bit. Nutanix is up 15%. AMD's making, or NTNX is up 15% on an AMD investment. Sezzle, I guess a buy now, pay later. Company's up 15.7. VAC's up 12. AI down 22.4. Trade Desk down 16.2. Those are the big movers. And right now the futures are down a modest amount. On Thursday we got D-Wave, which is Quantum. We got Celsius coming in. In the afternoon we got CoreWeave, a big consumer of AMD chip or NVIDIA chips. Dell, Opco, among others. Zscaler, Duolingo Thursday, and then Friday we've got a few. It's a judgment call to hold stocks over earnings dates. It's bad judgment to not know when your stock's earnings date is scheduled. Now, today sucked for me. Most of my stocks behaved like the rest of the market did, but I had a position in First Solar and sort of taken back about a miss on earnings. But it is what it is. Call it trading, not winning, and you're going to have your lumps. So if you have more information about what I talk about, how I trade, marketmripro@gmail.com. I answer my own emails. If you have the program, you have any concerns, coding at marketmripro.com. I do offer a short trial. If you go into the Windows App Store, you can download the product for $7.99. That will trigger a 3-day trial. I'll extend it another 14 days if you email me. And let's go take a look at the product and the markets. So, big day for Bitcoin. We'll see if it's a bear cat bounce or the end of their fall. Up 7.39%. Q's up 1.45, Spiders 0.84, Diamonds 0.82, and the Russell 0.47. All pretty much in the highest part of their day. Dollar was down a little bit and volatility was down. Stocks new highs minus new lows at 52 weeks. NYSE back above 100 and firming up on the positivity is NASDAQ. Looking at the S&P 500 sectors, the big leadership was tech, financials, which were laggards the last couple of days. You can see the 20-day change on these are negative. And then the third one was utilities. Weakness were in staples, industrials, real estate, materials. Sounds like some profit taking today. If we look at themes, we got fintech, software, cybersecurity, blockchain, internet, blockchain, or artificial intelligence, lithium, cybersecurity, copper. It's as if the things that have been underperforming rallied today. Is this rotation back? I guess we'll see soon. And we could see the big loser today was home construction. I think Lowe's shit the bed for home construction today and the entire aftermarket as well. Solar was down, e-commerce was down as well. Even though the markets really were positive today, one thing that I didn't like is the breadth wasn't great. 54% of the S&P 1500 were up, 64 of the Nasdaq, but only 55 of the NYSE. So positive breadth, positive markets, but just not nearly as strong as yesterday. And if you look at blue being Wednesday, green Wednesday, gray Tuesday, you could see that more sectors and industries were positive the prior day. If we look at the timing brief to see if there's any changes in the timing model, there was. The daily spider with this gap up went to a positive. That's great. That plays into the bull thesis that this is just a pullback in an uptrend. We still have sell signals in the Russell and the Diamond. On the weekly, we're still going to be in a sell signal, I believe, on the Qs. However, everything else is remaining in a buy, and the Qs are now firmly above the WMA. So perhaps before the week ends and before the bar closes, we'll flip to a blue up here and go back to a buy. So I think the theme that this is a pullback and an uptrend and we resolve to the upside was strengthened a bit today, but tomorrow's another day. If I look at the index ETFs, it's funny. Clearly, we're in a trading range here. And we are now coming up towards the top. Will we get back to all-time highs? That's possible. Will we break above that? That would be awesome. We're still in a period of mixed seasonality, but you got to like this. Another day bounced yesterday up to the 100, and today we had a gap up and a bit of a breakout from this area. So that looks much better. If we take a look at the Qs, again, a big move closing above the 50, the 21E and the 17 simple. A nice positive day today for the Qs. We'll see if that can continue. They have been the laggard. Diamonds popped up above the 21 day today, just below the 17. We'll see if they can continue higher. All these things are not far off their all-time highs. It's not as we've come off a major sell-off. And if we look at the Russell probably looks as good as anything. A nice finish today, threatening to break out as well. So I think the indexes look a little bit better. Volatility came down, actually broke the trend line. I would love to see volatility come down. Seasonality and volatility says it's probably going to still go up some, but volatility, at least for today, came back some, and that's a good thing. And then if we look at the dollar, really going sideways, well off the prior highs. If I look quickly at commodities today, gold kind of consolidating here, midway between the highs and the recent lows. Looks fine, probably will resolve to higher. Silver was up a bit, but had a weak close, up 1.21. Same comments, will it go higher? Oil, is oil going to rally if we bomb Iran, or we continue in a stalemate, or does oil come down when the bombs drop, because then we know it's almost over? But oil is still holding up at a recently high level. Natural gas still stuck in a downtrend. And then here is the 10-year rallied a little bit today, up 0.32, closing off the highs, as did the 30-year with probably less of a move, 0.02. So these look okay, nothing really to write home about. I like seeing the rates low. If I go into my buckets, you could see less stocks below, about the same stocks above today, really neutral, no change. Market breadth, I'm going to go quickly tonight. You could see a nice move up in the NYSE, continuing its rally. NASDAQ running into the 50. Will that hold, or will break above the NASDAQ, sort of solidify my thoughts that this market's going higher? We could see down here that new high, new lows, AD lines, and up-down volume were positive on both today, and no other signal. We don't yet have on the NASDAQ. At least I don't see the 13-week new high, new low. It's neutral on the NYSE. On the ratio charts, what's materials, energy, industrials, staples, Real estate and utilities are what's been leading. And on the larger market breadth chart, let's see if we got that 13-week new high, new low. Come on, market breadth chart. All right, what we can see here on the market breadth charts, why isn't this letting me do that? Hold on a second. Huh, I'm going to do it this way. Not letting me do my drawings. That's not it. I think that's, all right, well, that is bizarre. Let's see what happens if I change it, and then I'll go back to it. Well, I'll just talk through it then. We can see here, if I highlight that, it's not letting me do that. All right, let me see what I got. All right, I don't know what I hit, but I got my line back. All right, if we just look at that 13-week new high, new low, which is that little green box in the third rung down, we could see it's 0.82 on the spider, 0.74 on the SP 1500, 0.62 on the Russell, and for whatever reason, it's not printing tonight on the NASDAQ. Must be a data challenge. I'm sure it'll be up later. None of these are a signal. They're all neutral. And let's just move in the essence of time to the JS layout. And let's take a look in the top down. Look at the moves today. Technology, financials, and communications. Let's take the top 10 in these. 2, 3, 4, 5. Interesting to see the financials here. Got 430 stocks. Let's go ahead and let's adjust that by taking out everything below 5 and 500,000 shares. Now we're left with 262. Let's rank them by movement. U, Clear Security, Clear Secure. Must have been an earnings day. Take a look. $1.70 versus 90 cents, so an 88% move. Big surprise. No wonder it had a big move. Problem with this thing, now it's going to get extended, and this may continue going, but likely it pulls back like the seasonality bar, consolidates before it goes higher. Probably not the best thing to chase. Speaking of big earnings moves, Circle, this one's a lot different because it's not extended. It's an IPO. Look at the volume. This one's interesting. It had positive earnings, well received. That may be good. BMO, Bank of Montreal. Earnings are out. 19% growth, 8% beat. Pays a small dividend of 4% and have multiple of 15. So this thing's growing more than the multiple, pays a dividend. Nice move up, pulled back here and broke out on earnings. I like that. Western Digital, I mean, it's in the same group as Micron and a number of others on the memory chips and storage business. This whole group is hot, but they're very volatile. In fact, I think they spun off SanDisk not too long ago. Pulling back looks interesting, but it's expensive and a volatile group. SMCI, more of an assembler of supercomputers. Actually has a lot of business with data centers. Had stubbed their feet in the past. Had all kinds of questions about whether or not their earnings were legitimate, and they're still here. Putting in a nice little rounded base, had a big move today. Is this worth a flyer? Relative strength crossed, OBV crossed, not extended. That one looks interesting. Earnings are out. MyTech, earnings have been out for a while. This is when we found it. Continues to run higher. It's getting extended. WW, Flywire. This one was beaten up on earnings. Just don't like the pattern below the 200. TDAY, USA Today. IPO, it's actually been relatively strong, but it's a $6 stock. TD, Toronto Dominion Bank. Well, Bank of Montreal looks good, and that's a Canadian bank, but so does this guy. Nice run up, sideways move, and ready to break out. Has a dividend of almost 4%. 14.9 PE, and earnings are out tomorrow, so you're not going to buy this one. So that's how I start to look at top down. I think from the list, TD looked really interesting. And I like Circle as well, and SMCI. I like their story. That's tops down investing, and that's done in 15 minutes, top to bottom, looking at the market and all the other things that I do. Let's just go to the bottoms up approach and look at my favorite scans. Scan number one, let's clear the filters, is the A plus scan. And this is looking for what I call my double momentum buys. See if anything's look good. AIP. This is what does AIP do? Arcturus Semiconductor Interconnect Intellectual Property. Well, obviously has a data center story. Nice uptrend, pretty deep pullback. Today broke above the 50, which I like. Earnings are already out. That looks interesting. And what gets me excited are these two blue dots next to each other. I call that double momentum. This one has the benefit of a squeeze and strong relative strength in OBV. I like that. ALDX, kind of a loosey-goosey healthcare stock. Lithium Argentina. Last night we talked about ALB. The lithium stocks have been strong. I think this one's one of the leaders, ALB, which had a nice day but closed at the low of the day after a big gap up. So LAR is in the same group, lower cost stock, lithium play. LRMR, Lamar Therapeutics, another healthcare. When you see that, think of what was the news? They're doing a public offering, so they must have. This is what gets scary on pharma biotechs. They announced at 12/12 yesterday that they got an FDA breakthrough therapy designation. Market soared on that news today. Now, I've been on boards of small cap biotechs. If they wanted to do a million share offering 2 days ago, they would have gotten $3 million or less. Today, they're going to get $6 million. So they did a public offering after hours, and that's not usually good for the stock price tomorrow. But I would review the news and see if the news was reasonable. Poet we looked at yesterday, still below the 50. POWI, power integration. Cup, handle, breakout, good relative strength in OBV. All these have the double dots. I'm interested in that. SLDE, this is from the weekend. There's a tech play here, if I remember. Single family and condo policies and property and casualties. A big breakout here, does not pay a dividend. And then here's the same change use security. So that's, continuing to identify possible candidates. The other one is the A scan, which is more my pullbacks in an uptrend. And let's see if anything here looks like I want to look at it. FFIV, beaten down stock. I wouldn't touch it till it got above the 200. Ferroglobe, kind of interesting here. Uptrend, sideways move. Kind of a big candle today. Earnings are out. It had a CPR, volume breakup, momentum, good relative strength in OBV. There is POWI again, SGML, Sigma Lithium. That's another lithium stock. Here is Seagate, similar to Western Digital, had a huge move. Now I have a position in it, so I'm talking my book, but uptrend, big move, pull back to support and breaking out. That looks as good as anything I've shown you today. And there to remind you is Western Digital, which hasn't pulled back as much. So that's a real quick thing. I got some things I want to do the rest of the night, so I want to get this out of the way. But think about 20 minutes. I spoke about with slides probably for the first 5 or 6 minutes. I've taught along the way of what we're looking at, and I end this at 20 minutes with a handful of stocks that look attractive if the market cooperates tomorrow and a strong assessment of the market. Have a great day. Thank you for being here.